we talked about the data protection and legislation that's out there that protects residents and their data. And the issue that you have is you can't take a model that is self-aware of data to make decisions on people's information because you don't know what it's going to present. So you can start investing in particular directions, or you can have an opinion on a particular resident based on something they've written or something that they've done, because the computer generically looks at that and says that's a negative thing. And I think trying to marry up the risk of getting it wrong from an ethical perspective is the key, because you have to I mean, you could never just take a model. Let's say we went to Microsoft and you said, look, give us your model. And you just put loads of data into it. And you said, right, let's take all of our tenant information, all of our property information, our rents. Let's just put everything we've got for our housing stock into Microsoft's AI, and then just sit back and wait to what it produces. Because the example I gave before on that rent is a perfect example. There's no way that somebody can define if somebody is in arrears or is going to fail to pay their rent based on when they pay their rent. Because the example that I used before is if your rent is due on the 26th and this resident always pays on the 28th, then AI is going to look at that and say this person is always late paying their rent. In actual fact, reality is, if you zoom out and you speak to the resident, the only way you can ever truly define if they're late paying their rent is if you have access to the rent payments, the bank account, their work, their frequency of payments from work, and you're never going to get that information. So you have to base it on a human defined set of parameters or algorithms. So if a tenant pays after the day it's due, flag that as a risk. Well, that isn't a risk, but you're putting a negative comment towards that resident to say that they're at risk, when in actual fact they're not.